So now I'm on the airplane. I arrive in North Carolina. They have a limousine to pick me up at the airport. Man, I couldn't believe this. And then they take me to the hotel. Well, that night, Pat Gray says, I want to take you and show you where you're going to be speaking. You're speaking in the Coliseum. We have a positive thinking day for the whole state of North Carolina, let alone the city of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to have the TV. Everything is going to be here. It's a total sellout. We have a complete sellout. He takes me to the Coliseum, and he had it timed. We walk in there, and the lights are off. And then finally, the lights go on. He reached over there and he hit me like that, the back of his hand right here. Okay, Rocky. And then the music of Rocky I came on. And we're the only ones in the place. And if you've ever heard that music, how stirring it is in Rocky I. So he set me up well. Well, I get back to the hotel room. I can't sleep. I didn't undress. I wore the same. I came with one suit, and one tie, and one white shirt. And I just left it on. And I spent an evening, all night long, rehearsing that one page. That thing that bothered me, I was so terrified I'm going to forget that page. And then it got to where finally, my gosh, sakes, it's getting closer and closer and closer. And so the next morning, I get a phone call, what do you want for breakfast? I said, I want 6 shrimps. They brought me 6 shrimps for breakfast. That was it. And then later on in the day, I get the phone call. Mr. Snarr, the limousine is there to take you to the rally. About that time, I'm thinking, what if I kind of all of a sudden go blank? I can't remember my next line. You just I got to get that out of my head. Don't even think about that. You can't think that. Don't get it out of your head. You can't have any negative thoughts. You got to be in total control here. Well, I hop in the limousine, and there sits Paul Harvey. He says, I'm Paul Harvey. I said, well, I'm Doug Snarr. He says, well, Mr. Snarr, I understand that you're speaking right behind me. I said, yes. He says, well, Mr. Snarr, I got to tell you the truth. I apologize, but I've never heard of you. And I said, well, Mr. Harvey, nobody else has either. And so then he says, well, Mr. Snarr, how many speeches have you given? I said, well, Mr. Harvey, this is my first speech. He says, nobody follows me, and it's their first speech. And I said, well, I guess I'm the exception. Can I ask you a question? It says here that you're from Salt Lake City. Is that true? I said, yes. Are you a Mormon? And I said, yes. And he said, those Mormons surprise me every time. Well, I thought that was a great line, frankly. We get there. He gives his speech. I go into the dressing rooms, and I'm trying to rehearse again. I'm getting all up tense. Then the moment came that I was next. And I get out there. I'm introduced. And as I walked up on the platform, and there's the podium, the lights were on. I looked and I saw all those people, and then the lights went off, and I had to give the speech. I'd never rehearsed with the lights off. It was a total different experience for me. And there, just for a moment there, I just had a certain hesitation. And then it unfolded, and it came. When the speech ended, the lights went back on. What happened was that the audience stood and charged the platform. And I was adjusting my eyes because it had been black, While I was giving the speech, a speaker likes to look in the eyes of the people and get a feedback, and but that was gone. So what happened was, I saw these policemen running, and they had ropes. Well, the audience attacked the platform where I was speaking, and the police were trying to hold them back. And they broke through and got to me. And all kinds of experiences I had, people crying and everything. One I remember was this: my son stutters. And I had decided I was going to take him. The last moment I decided not to. Where do you speak next? Because wherever it is, I'm going to be there with my son who stutters. I said, I don't know. I only agreed to speak one time, and they only asked me to speak one time. And but I do know that the next speech is at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. But I don't know whether I'll be there. He says, oh, don't worry, you'll be there. Because of all the speakers, you're by far the best. Well, I mentioned this to you about the years and years of practice. The dreaming while I was pulling the weeds from the potato rows. Maybe someday I could maybe give a speech. And it was fulfilled in that moment. Well, they came up to me. Doug, you're prime time. From now on, you're behind Paul Harvey. You're prime time. And I said, well, I can't speak prime time. 4 days ago, I got a call from my church to serve as a mission president, and I accepted that call. So I will not be on your program. I'll speak between now and the time I go, which ended up being 4 times. And then that will be probably the last that you'll see of me or hear of me. And I just want you all to know how grateful I am for the miracles of Pat Gray. He died 3 months ago. Hurt deep. One man determined a great measure of my entire life. One man. In this case, Pat Gray. Thank you.